So I've got 3 complimentary plays here for the Sunday card. I'm going to take a look at the Kentucky-Auburn game, plus 2 plays in baseball, the Phillies and Braves, the Sunday night game, and also a late afternoon game between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. Before I get there, however, a couple of notes about the NBA playoffs and betting baseball. First of all, betting baseball. A lot of guys in this business, handicappers, the minute the Final Four is over, they hang up their shingle and they say they're gone fishing. A lot of them do it right after the Super Bowl. Others will stay around for the NBA playoffs and they won't even touch baseball. They are stupid. I am here to tell you, as I do every year at this time, betting baseball, it's the easiest sport to make money in. Here at the site, I have turned a profit in baseball 13 of the last 17 years. Truth be told, it is the first sport that I started betting, even when I was back in high school. It is the easiest sport, again, to make money in. But it takes a commitment. When they say the dog days of summer, I think they meant it for guys that were betting baseball. But the advantage of betting baseball and what makes it the easiest sport to make money in is this. You have repetition and you have consistency. And it is unlike any other sport. You know that teams that you are following are going to play either 6 or 7 days a week. You know that your pitchers that you are following are going to go every 4th or 5th day. You can follow teams that are streaking. You can follow pitchers that are streaking either positively or negatively. And that gives you the advantage when you're betting baseball. You don't find that in any other sport. And that's the beauty of baseball. But again, it takes a commitment. You've got to follow and look for those trends and those streaks day in and day out. But if you love baseball, it's a beautiful sport to bet. If I had to tell you that the pie of gamblers, 100% of them bet the NFL and college football, and about 85% of them are still betting right now through March Madness, but only about 35% of that pie of gamblers that started football will bet through the NBA playoffs. And no more than 10 to 15% of them will continue betting through the baseball season. Why? Beyond me. Because when you bet baseball and you build that bankroll through the summer, well then you've got a bankroll that you've accumulated at the expense of somebody else's dime, meaning the sports book, meaning your bookies. Come September, you're playing literally with somebody else's money. You've accumulated that bankroll at the expense of somebody else's fortune for football. That, again, is the beauty of betting baseball. Now, do you have the time to study and do all the research in baseball? Well, no, and that's what I do for a living. But again, I love betting baseball. NBA playoffs. Listen, betting the NBA right now, it's a grind. Even though so many teams are vying and jockeying for playoff position, I know it's a grind. And it's so tough because our focus isn't right now on the NBA. It's all about March Madness. For me, my focus is baseball, it's basketball, and it's college hoops. It's all together right now. But I can tell you this about the NBA playoffs. It gives you an opportunity, just like baseball, to spot trends because you've got 7-game series. It wasn't that way, remember, years ago when you had first-round series, which were just best of 5, which was a crapshoot. But you also, because you have 7-game series, you get to immediately spot trends within series. And that makes NBA playoffs easier to bet than NBA regular season games. You also don't have the dreaded 3 games in 4 nights, back-to-back, second leg situations because you have travel built in. NBA playoffs are easier to win than NBA regular season games because, again, you have repetition, you have consistency, you remove the travel scenarios which make regular season games sometimes easier because of situational handicapping scenarios, but you make it easier to win NBA playoffs. So that's something else to consider. And one final note about baseball, and I say this about every sport at the beginning of every single season. The first 3 weeks of the baseball season, the only time we have the advantage over the odds makers because they don't know what to expect anymore from these teams, and especially the starting pitchers at the outset of the season, than anybody else. So the lines are always going to be softest, and we get to take advantage of them. After these guys make 2 to 3 starts, the odds makers aren't stupid. They're going to readjust. They're going to get their act together. But the first 3 weeks, that's when we strike. That's when we have the advantage. So with that being said, let's get to your complimentary plays for today's card. Matter of fact, let me run these in reverse chronological order. I'm going to take a look at the Sunday night baseball game. Listen, Philadelphia right now is about a 140 to 145 favorite. You mean to tell me I don't have to play the Phillies on the run line tonight? I don't get it. I know the Atlanta Braves were damn good last year. I know that they were better than the Phillies last year. But I don't have to lay 1.5 runs with Philadelphia last night, and I can still take the Phillies at minus 140 to 145 with Jake Arrieta on the hill. I know Jake Arrieta sucked the second half of the season last year, but I also know he had some minor knee surgery prior to the start of spring training to clean up some meniscus damage in that knee that he claims caused most of his problems in the second half of the season. Okay, I'll ride with that. I know he had an uneven spring training coming off that knee injury, but I know that in his final start, March 25th against Tampa Bay, he went 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, but more importantly, a lot of swing and misses, no walks and 8 strikeouts in his longest spring training outing. I know that he's always pitched well against the Braves during his career, and I know this. That Phillies lineup has bashed the ball the first 2 games against the Braves, hitting a combined 6 homers, having 9 hits in yesterday's win, 8-6, a game that was only a close game because their newest reliever, Robertson, gave up a 2-run homer in the 9th, winning 10-4 in Thursday's opener, a game in which they had 7 hits, 3 homers in each of those victories. Yesterday, the Braves went with a rookie pitcher, Bryce Wilson. Today, they're going with another rookie pitcher, Kyle Wright, who I think was the 6th pick out of Vanderbilt in the 2017 draft. This is going to be his first major league start. He made 4 middling to average bullpen appearances last year for the Braves. And I'll go ahead and I'll take the Phillies in this one as they look for the series sweep. And I like the fact that Bryce Harper went deep for the first time in a Phillies uniform yesterday. I'm going to go with the Dodgers on the run line at home today with Walker Buehler on the hill. Now, Buehler only made a couple of starts in spring training. He was sidelined for a little bit with an injury that the Dodgers were very close-lipped about. You never found out what it was, but in a simulated game about a week and a half ago, he threw over 60 pitches. His velocity was up in the mid-90s. They said he looked in great form. That's good enough for me. It's also good enough for me that the Dodgers' bats have certainly been booming. They won the season opener 12-5. They lost game number 2 against Robbie Ray. The Diamondbacks eventually won that in extra innings 5-4 and 13, but then they rebounded, the Dodgers did yesterday, for an 18-5 win. They're going today against Luke Weaver, who was acquired in the Paul Goldschmidt trade from St. Louis. Listen, this Diamondbacks team, I don't like them. They don't have a lot of offense, especially with Goldschmidt applying his trade elsewhere. The Dodgers certainly do. Buehler last year was just magnificent as a rookie at home with a 1.93 earned run average in 13 appearances at Dodger Stadium, 12 of them being starts. And in those 13 outings, he pitched a total of 74.2 innings, allowed just 46 hits, walked only 16 batters, and struck out 84. He had a 2.19 earned run average in 2 starts against Arizona a year ago. That's good enough for me. I'll take the Dodgers on the run line, where I'm reducing the price. I'm laying to 105. Now, finally, in March Madness ball today, I got to lay the points with Kentucky, minus 4.5 against Auburn. The number of games I've won with Kentucky this season, that would be probably overestimating it. 2. So take this with a grain of salt from the guy who has won 2 plays involving Kentucky all season. The number of times I've used Kentucky, probably 4, maybe 5. Just not a team I've been able to get a handle on. So, again, take this with a grain of salt. So Auburn lost their big guy, their best rebounder. You look at what Kentucky did in the 2 games against Auburn this season. 2 games that they swept the season series. They won the first one in Auburn 82-80, and you're going, oh, well, that was a close game. It was on the road. Yeah, well, Kentucky was up 17 before Auburn staged the furious comeback. And then the rematch, February 23rd in Lexington. Kentucky rolled 80-53, and they won that game without Reed Travis. In those 2 games, Kentucky used their superior size, their superior length, and they outscored Auburn in the paint 68-46. And they limited Auburn to 8 second chance points combined in those 2 wins. And Auburn just lost their most effective interior post player. They outshot them in that second blowout win at home, 54.5% to 32.8%. And they held Auburn to only 8 3-pointers in that game. Now, you saw how Auburn just destroyed North Carolina's defense. Auburn came into that game averaging like 12 3-pointers a game their previous 10 games, and they had 17 of them against North Carolina. Shot 54.3%. I mean, just amazing what Auburn has done during their 11-game winning streak, which ironically dates back to that February 23rd blowout loss to Kentucky. Kentucky beat Houston 62-58, and the Wildcats played a typical Kentucky game. Up 11 at halftime, up 13 early in the second half, and then found themselves trailing 58-55 with about 3 minutes and change to go. Typical Kentucky game. I would lay the points with Kentucky. Auburn has a shooter's chance, though, in this game, because that team is not going to shy away from launching 3-pointers. They may put up another 33-pointers, and I would expect them to do so today because that's their bread and butter, and they're a confident shooting team. I think it helps that Kentucky got P.J. Washington back. I mean, but can he perform again like he did so unexpectedly against Houston? I mean, this guy had 16 points after coming back from that sprained foot that cost him the first 2 rounds of the tournament. I mean, a weekend ago, he had his foot in a walking boot, and he was motoring around on a scooter. And then this like Lazarus type of performance, and he comes out and he has 16 points 2 nights ago. I mean, that's amazing. Can he do it again 48 hours later? I don't know. So I lay the points with Kentucky. But again, I would take the Phillies and the Dodgers on the run line first. So that'll do it. I wish you well, guys, and I'll talk to you.